If people don't think that they should look into not just what's going on in in Baltimore, Maryland, other states and everything like that, if they don't think they should look into their politicians, I'm telling you right now, stories like this and others are the perfect example as to why you need to. What's going on, YouTube? It's your host, Bruce GNT, and we're here to talk about the Baltimore mayor, right? His wife was tied to a nonprofit where that nonprofit was getting millions. And I spoke about this lightly in the video. I'll probably have it up in the corner right over there, right? I talk about this time and time again. We need to understand that stuff like this has been going on for years at this point. It's only until now that we're really bringing a lot of things to the spotlight because I'm not going to ruin it. We're going to jump right in.
A nonprofit tied to Mayor Brandon Scott's wife stopped operations after receiving roughly $100,000 taxpayer dollars.
Patrick Huff from our Spotlight on Maryland team investigates the unanswered questions about whether those taxpayer funds will be returned.
The fabulous, phenomenal, brilliant, and beautiful women of Be More Empowered who are empowering. Yeah, let's clap. There we go.
That was Mayor Brandon Scott at a July 2023 press conference where he praised leaders of a nonprofit awarded $80,000 as a part of a taxpayer-funded program. What he didn't mention was that one of those leaders he praised was his then-girlfriend and now wife. Our investigation found that Mrs. Scott's employer received an influx of taxpayer money shortly after pairing up with the mayor. And now, that organization is pausing operations. Mrs. Scott started working as the director of operations for Be More Empowered in September 2021. She started dating the mayor in 2022. Her employer began to receive money through the Baltimore city government in 2023, totaling $34,950 taxpayer dollars by 2024. And that's not all. The Downtown Partnership of Baltimore awarded Be More Empowered $80,000 through a taxpayer-funded program in July 2023, a day before the Scotts went public with their relationship through a pregnancy announcement. The taxpayer-backed Baltimore Children and Youth Fund sent Be More Empowered $62,500 from July 2023 to June 2024. Meanwhile, Be More Empowered has not filed a tax form since 2023, meaning it's almost a year.
We've talked about this. How is it that these organizations, nonprofit or not, are getting away with not doing audits and doing their taxes properly and no one's saying anything? But they're still getting all this money. Explain that to me. Someone needs to explain that to me because that's just wild. And then not only that, right? I don't know if I did the video, but I remember I was doing research on it, right? Where because he is a elected official, he's supposed to disclose, along with people in city council as well. They're supposed to disclose their relationships when it comes to them being related to people in nonprofit or just different organizations and entities that they work with, especially when it comes to the passing off of money, because it could present a conflict of interest. He didn't do that at all. And if I could find the other video, probably won't, I will be able to show you guys. Like the whole thing was it's shady as hell.
You're behind its required filings with the IRS. And none of its previous tax forms mention Mrs. Scott's position or salary. Plus, Be More Empowered is listed on the Maryland government's charity database as delinquent.
So this one is a bit of a head scratcher.
That's Linda Parsons, a professor at the University of Alabama specializing in nonprofit accounting. She said Be More Empowered needs to explain how it's managing taxpayer money.
If I had taxpayer dollars and I said, I'm just going to stop what I'm doing, I would expect that the money providers would be asking me questions and I would have to be very clear with them where their money was, how long I expected to need before I was back fully operating.
Be More Empowered did not respond to questions about whether they will return taxpayer money. Mrs. Scott lists on her LinkedIn that she stopped working at Be More Empowered in September, which was the same month the nonprofit announced an organizational pause and was sued for not paying rent. Attempts to reach...
Yo, if we can't just say, allegedly, that this is some fraudulent shit, come on now. I understand. Coincidences exist. Things happen coincidentally all the time. Life is funny that way. But that shit right there, that's just in my face. Now you playing in my face and thinking I'm a fool. Because that's around the time where I think I did start doing research on this and I looked into it. I was like, wait a minute. His wife was working and like no one knew for a while at all. Because just like what it said before, it didn't list her name or her position within the company, within the nonprofit at all. It was like it was a kept secret. You can't move in this weird, shady way for so long. And then when you get caught on it, we're just supposed to like look around like we don't see what's going on. Come on now.
Mrs. Scott for comment were unsuccessful. The mayor's office did not respond to the following questions. How did Be More Empowered spend its taxpayer money? Will you request that Be More Empowered returns the funds? Was it a conflict of interest for Baltimore City to send Be More Empowered money as the organization was employing Mayor Scott's partner? Parsons raised questions about Be More Empowered's ties to the mayor.
It's definitely a conflict of interest. I'm not saying that's that it's a problem necessarily, or that it's not allowed. However, when there are conflicts of interest, they need to be acknowledged. There is no communication about the conflict. There's been no communication about where the funds are. There's been, no communication about what this pause means or how long it's going to be. There's no reporting that is required. To me, those are all giant red flags.
Be More Empowered received $25,000 from the Baltimore City government in 2023, stemming from the Federal American Rescue Plan Act. In 2024, Be More Empowered received $9,950 listed for the Youth Works program, which runs under the Mayor's Office of Employment Development. The $80,000 Be More Empowered received from the Downtown Partnership came through the Boost program, which is funded through a combination of private and public money. Mayor Scott sent $1.6 million in ARPA money to Downtown Partnerships in 2022 to help back the Boost program Be More Empowered benefited from 1 year later.
Let's read this. Downtown Partnership will receive $1.6 million to revitalize downtown Baltimore's historic retail core, which was significantly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic due to lower foot traffic to downtown commercial entities such as restaurants, hotels, office spaces, and businesses. Funds will increase investment in the Downtown Boost program, Vacay Improvement Program, Restaurant Gap Fund, and Operation Storefront, with an emphasis on small and minority-owned businesses. I find this to be hilarious because I just did a video talking about downtown Baltimore, how it's just on the decline, like it's failing. Like the Cheesecake Factory is closing down. A lot of businesses and stores are closing down because no foot traffic and there's no investment in it. Now, I'm not saying the $1.6 million just went up in smoke. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just questioning, where did it go? Because if you want to check out my video for downtown Baltimore, you can check it out. I'm gonna have it right up there. What happened? Does it need more money to be invested for it to actually be successful? Is that what it is? 'Cause that's what they always say. We need more money.
A spokesman for Downtown Partnership told Spotlight on Maryland that Be More Empowered spent the $80,000 in accordance with its contract, which he said he could not provide. A point that Parsons questioned.
When you have government funds, the contract is not available is not an option. Once you agree to take government funds, whether from your city or state or federal government, it's your obligation to be as transparent as possible.
The Boost grant to Be More Empowered was intended for the organization to spend on a new office space downtown on North Howard Street. However, a previous Spotlight on Maryland investigation found they never moved into that location, instead opening an office on North Charles Street, where they were sued in September for not paying rent and since moved out. Downtown Partnership's president...
Yo, it's just hilarious. It's not hilarious, it's just sad. Because I'm going to address the elephant in the room, right? Because it needs to be said. Why is it that it's always our people that when they have positions of power, there's always some type of crookedness and weird happenings going on when it comes to money not being used appropriately, rent not being paid, and or people not getting paid? Why? And I'm not saying it's only us, all right? So before y'all start typing, oh, yeah, shut up. I'm not saying it's only us, but it just makes us look worse because in those instances, right, you find that it's usually an all-black city council, a predominantly black city council, a black mayor, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the part that always gets me because it's like, excuse my language, what the fuck?
Shalonda Stokes has a salary of $317,000. Stokes' Instagram shows several photos and videos of her with Mrs. Scott, including attending a Beyonce concert together last summer in a group that also included the wife of Maryland Governor Wes Moore.
Y'all niggas caught in 4K. Yo, this shit is crazy, man. And Beyonce tickets are not cheap. I heard last year when people were bitching and moaning about how expensive her tickets were, and they were mad. It was like, why is she dropping her tickets around income tax time? Them tickets are not cheap. And like I said, coincidences happen. It happens. But it can only build up so much before you have to look around and go, okay, this is a little bit weird. This is funky. Like, because it is. Can we not say that? It is. It's worse because the president of that organization, they got kicked out because they weren't paying rent. But look at her salary, right? And then she's hanging out with Mayor Scott's wife and the governor's wife, and they just out chilling. Something fishy is going on. I'm not saying someone's taking money. I'm not saying that, they're misappropriating the funds. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they need to be investigated. All of them. All of them. Because where's the money going? You're spending it, can't provide like details to say how it got spent. Or the money's just getting lost, which is wild to me. Like, you're just losing money. Like, come on now. You're not dropping a $5 bill on the street. These are hundreds of thousands of dollars. Over there in Baltimore, y'all better wake up. Y'all better wake up. Well, you guys already know it's you. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. Comment down below, tell me your thoughts. What do you guys think in Baltimore? The ones that live in Baltimore, like, how do you guys feel? Oh, but you know what? Maryland. How do you guys feel about this? Because I know if I was hearing this, and I know that I had to pay some mean property taxes, just in general, income tax, whatever have you, anything that has blank tax, I'd be pissed seeing all this shit. I'd be mad. I'd be mad. So let me know how you feel in the comments below. That's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.